Hello, Internet. Yours truly, Jedi Master Brevin Thompson, here to continue my series of Keanu Reeves reviews leading up to John Wick Chapter 3. So I'll be talking about John Wick Chapter 2, also directed by Chad Stahelski, and once again starring Keanu Reeves as John Wick himself, and this picks up immediately after Chapter 1. So, John gets his car back and decides he wants to leave behind his life as a hitman and just live out the rest of his days in peace. But unfortunately, that doesn't go so well for him, since an old colleague of his, Santino D'Antonio, reminds him that he has a marker to complete, which is a symbol of a blood oath. An unbreakable promise, but of course John doesn't want to do any of his dirty work, so what does Santino do? Burn his house down, and of course that immediately pisses John off, and he realizes that he has no choice but to do this, but his motivation of coming out of retirement isn't as strong as the motivation that he had in the first movie, which, guys break into his house, they kill his dog, they steal his car, the dog being the last gift that he had from his wife, and that was completely understandable, and I really liked that motivation, because if it was my dog, I would go completely John Wick on them. Just boom, 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 boom. Just headshot after headshot after headshot. I love John Wick. And so what Santino wants John to do is he wants John to kill his sister, so Santino would get her a seat at the high table, which is an international group of crime bosses, and of course, his sister just slits her own wrist, but John gets the job done. Leads to a ton of great, action sequences. There's a ton of great fight scenes, and they're so well choreographed, and I'm really impressed of how much of the stunt work that Keanu Reeves had to do, and he is completely, hands down, the master of gun fu. Probably the best gun fu master of cinema, and I honestly will never get tired of seeing him play John Wick, and he's just fantastic as this character, and Keanu Reeves he's a down-to-earth gentleman, and he's probably the nicest guy in Hollywood right now. So after the job's done, Santino puts a $7 million bounty on his head when he goes back to New York, kills several assassins, and kills 2 with a pencil. I swear to God, every time I see that one scene, I'm like, beat that, Heath Ledger, if you'll know what I mean. It's making me think of that one scene in The Dark Knight with the Joker slamming that guy's head into a pencil. And later we get a Matrix reunion with Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne, who plays the Bowery King, and he is chewing every bit of the scenery, especially with "Somebody please get this man a gun." But I almost thought, when I saw him in the trailer, I thought he would almost be a character who's almost in a way similar to Morpheus, because like I said, this was a Matrix reunion. But no, he wasn't anything like Morpheus. He was polar opposite, but still, it was good to see Keanu and Lawrence back on screen together, and I always loved Lawrence Fishburne. I always loved him as Morpheus. So yeah, it was good to see him in Chapter 2. So the Bowery King allows John to like sneak into the museum where Santino is now at. Ton of headshots later, and killing um, his bodyguard, who is a mute. And we also find out, from her that John knows American Sign Language and Italian and Russian. I mean, is there any language that this guy doesn't know? I mean, I don't know. I mean, he can speak like 60 fucking languages. I'm pretty sure he can speak almost every language. Yeah. So Santino goes to the Continental. Winston pleads John to walk away, but of course John just immediately shoots Santino in the head, and everybody else is standing in utter shock. And Winston's like, "What have you done?" And John just lays down his gun and he's like, "Finished it." But of course, he broke the rules of the Continental: no blood on Continental grounds, and especially when it comes to killing a member of the High Table. So the High Table doubled up Santino's contract on John, and John is now declared excommunicado, meaning all privileges and resources and any connection with the Continental are off limits to him. And basically every assassin in the world will be out after him. And there's even one scene in particular where, he's in the park and all these people stop walking, and we get this feeling that every one of them is an assassin. But then they start walk. I was like, oh shit. There's no way that these people can't possibly be hitmen. Even though the action and everything is completely awesome in every way, it's just his motivation for coming out of retirement. He has no choice but to do this, but it's just not as strong as his motivation in the first movie. But I still like Keanu Reeves as John Wick, and he's amazing as this character, and I definitely can't wait to see or review Chapter 3, and I really can't wait at all. So Winston gives John a 1 hour head start and a marker for future use. And I love it when John's like, "Winston, tell them all. Whoever comes, whoever it is, I'll kill them. I'll kill them all." And Winston's like, "Of course you will, Jonathan." Winston. And then right when John starts running away, then you can see a lot of people are just looking at him. And we get the feeling that they're assassins as well, and phones start ringing and everything. So setting up Chapter 3. So yeah, I'm going to give John Wick Chapter 2 a B+. It's not perfect. It's still awesome, and the action sequences are a lot of fun. The fight choreography is fantastic. Keanu Reeves especially is also just flat out awesome as John Wick, and I can happily watch him play John Wick 1,000 times, and I will never get tired of seeing him play this character, and he just owns this role, and I really can't wait for Chapter 3. So yeah, thank you so much as always for supporting my channel and watching my videos. I'll be looking forward to doing more reviews very soon. If you want news on the latest new movies, you know where to find Jedi Master Brevin Thompson.